Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Tiny Brains podcast. I am Kevin Joyce, CEO at Tiny Brains, and with me I have Peter Graham, the Brigadier of Brains at Tiny Brains. Say hello, Peter.
Good afternoon.
So, for those of you who aren't familiar, what we do on this podcast is every week we take a look at the biggest news stories in VR and give you a little bit of an analysis, or maybe just our thoughts. Um, but we're going to dive straight in. Last week was some big news, not from Apple for once, but from Meta.
Yes, well, these are early reports that Meta is currently developing we're expected to be called the Quest 4. And currently, at the moment, all we know is a couple of code names, Pismo Low and Pismo High. Now, these are expected to come out in 2026. So what we're looking at are two consumer level headsets, possibly like we're going to have this year, where you get an entry level Quest 3S and then the higher end Quest, Quest 3, but in the 4 version.
So
So
obviously it was an inevitability that the Quest 4 was arriving,
yeah,
and
cool.
most people could probably predict it would be 2026, or if not, maybe 2025, but probably 2026. And basically this whole two model system has existed the whole time. It's just not been as obviously referred to. It's that the differences haven't been so grand. It has purely been in capacity, the storage capacity.
Yeah.
Whereas now it is actually going to be some variance in technical specifications. So the argument could be that they used to be more akin to a PlayStation 5 where you had a disc and a discless version, and now they're going the whole Xbox Series X and S route, which is interesting. I don't think it's that big a change, but I do think it has shown that there is demand for an entry level device, a $200, £200 device, um, which it's great. Bargain bucket, bargain bin, bargain bucket. Quest headset for everybody.
That's it. And I think we'll learn more about the future pricing structure this year once we get the new headset, won't we? Because currently Quest 3's at around $500, roughly speaking. And once we have confirmation from Meta Connect about this new headset that everyone's expecting, which I know you want it at around $200, but possibly maybe 250, 300. I'm not too sure. We'll probably have a better idea of what the future holds in terms of their pricing structure and where they're trying to aim for consumers.
What's your bet on the price, Pete?
I think it'll still be around 300.
I think it's going to be
I honestly, I
I think
don't.
it's going to be 250,
You think it's going to be
and you'll
250?
get it over holiday season for around the 200 mark. That's what I reckon. It's going to hit at 250. Everyone's going to discount it over holiday, Black Friday, and whatever else for 200. That's my shot in the dark there. 200 is nice.
That I feel that is a real shot in the dark, definitely.
Go on, Meta. Listen, okay, marketing guy. I know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. And also on Meta News, is well, same from the same report, is Meta's answer to Apple Vision Pro, or as we probably expect, a Meta Quest Pro 2, maybe, expected in 2027 and codenamed am I saying this right? La Jolia, maybe.
Probably should have Googled that beforehand,
Yeah,
right?
probably. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, Meta Quest Pro, we hardly knew yet. Um,
and hardly
it was-
care.
it's a great headset. It's a great headset. Nobody cares.
And by 2027, I would expect a Vision Pro like light version out, maybe something like that.
I would expect, from what I have seen, the Quest Pro 2 to be very similar to what the Vision Pro is right now for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
That's my expectation.
So lots of hardware coming. So it's always good. It's always exciting stuff.
And there's even more hardware news from Meta as well from the last week.
Yes, well, they've done rather well with their second gen Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, haven't they? So I think they recently reported that yes, they've outsold the previous gen already. So that's been good news. And I think it's gone that well that Meta are now deciding whether to buy a small minority stake in oh God, how am I going to say this right? Essilor Luxottica.
Better you than me.
I probably butchered that.
But yeah, so Ray-Ban obviously is the product here, and it's
Yeah.
these Ray-Ban smart glasses, as Pete mentioned. So Meta buying a small stake in this company would essentially, presumably, facilitate them having access to the Meta design, the Ray-Ban design team, and production facilities, meaning they can dive deeper down this road.
I would also expect having a small minority stake, which is they're reporting it's going to be around about 5%, would also allow them to access a far greater amount of brands under the SLR sort of umbrella. Because if you know this company, you'll know that they pretty much dominate all glasses, all sunglasses across the world. I think the most of their brands cover about 90% of all sort of sunglasses and things sold. So yes, having a small stake would then allow them access to a greater brand. So you could get like Oakley smart glasses or whatever.
I, for one, who does not own a single pair of sunglasses, have no idea about this market. But I'm interested to see Meta dive deeper down that road.
So nothing's been confirmed yet, but it's just something they're looking at. And if they do, they're going to be plumping up about 5 billion for this little slice.
Just a nice taster.
Yeah, just a cheeky taste.
Continuing down the hardware street, and this one is a bit more odd. Magic Leap, our good old buddies at Magic Leap. What have they been doing?
Yeah, well, Magic Leap were primarily a technology company. They were one of the earliest AR, or would you call them XR, technology companies that built some awesome, funky headsets, which nobody kind of wanted. Well, now it seems that they've realized this, they've fired a load of staff, and they're not going to make hardware anymore. So all those billions have gone to use. They've actually cut about 75 staff, most of them in sort of sales and marketing, and they're going to pivot towards technology licensing. So all the stuff that they've created, they're going to license to third-party vendors to be able to use rather than make it themselves.
So it seems like they're going a similar way to what Leap Motion did. Leap Motion launched an original device. It was good for its time, but aged quickly. They had a second device, which I tried when it was in a prototype stage, and it was phenomenal. But I don't think it ever came to market. And instead, they licensed the tech out to other people to produce their devices.
Mhm, mhm.
So, would we get other people using the Magic Leap technology in their headsets? I mean, surely the competitors who are making headsets already have done their own R&D on this.
Well, there's they must see a path through to this because they're obviously not selling enough headsets. They're not being profitable. Or I don't think has Magic Leap ever been profitable. They've generally survived on investment. So this is a new route that they're looking for to try and get some money in the bank.
We'll have to see how this one pans out. At the moment, it's still far too early to tell.
Indeed.
So moving on, Zenith. What's going on with Zenith?
Well, this is another one that's throwing everything out the window. So Zenith was a VR MMORPG that was originally developed by Ramen VR about 5 years ago. They started developing this, and it was one of the real early sort of VR MMORPGs, and it picked up quite a lot of traction, a lot of interest in the early years, but that has significantly waned. They released Zenith. It was they released a free to play version earlier this year, and it hasn't. They're not attracting the numbers. So they're not attracting the numbers. Sales are low. It's no longer makes sense for them to continue development on it anymore. I think they've got other projects that they want to do or that are in the works. So Zenith at the moment is now it's not being shuttered. It's going to continue. You can still play it, but the devs aren't going to do any new major updates or anything for it. Patches at best.
So it's sad to see it go. I played Zenith back before it launched. I think it was at Gamescom. which was not obviously the best taster of an MMO, but it did seem like it had potential. I haven't kept up with it, so I have no idea if it fulfilled that potential or not. But it's always sad to see a project in VR closing.
That's it, because there are so few VR MMOs out there, so it's a difficult area to try and generate interest in, especially in VR. So
pour one out for Zenith. But keep those glasses to raise up for two other projects. Love that segue, right? This week, or this past week, sorry, there have been two VR projects that have been nominated for Emmys.
yes, indeed. Aardman Animations' Wallace and Gromit: The Grand Getaway was the first one. If you've played that, then it's a delightful, immersive take on the lovable stop animation duo, really, isn't it? And who was the other one, Kev?
The other one was Pirate Queen from Singer Interactive. So congratulations to everybody at Singer. Little side note here, Tiny Brains has worked a small amount with Singer in the past. So just for clarity, what's the term?
Openness, you know.
Yes, we have worked with Singer a small amount in the past, but still, congratulations to everyone at the studio. We were not involved in anything to do with them being nominated for an Emmy, but we can be involved again. And if you would like to be involved with us, feel free to reach out on any of the things below. I don't know how it works. Pete does all the uploading and stuff. But yes, we would love to hear from you. Either you've got a project you want us to assist with, or if you just like to talk about any of these or any other stories, or if you'd like your story to be talked about on the podcast next week, please do reach out, drop us a line, say hi. Have a good week.
We're friendly, honest.